Hello everyone, Supersonic Corey here. I hope you liked how my LEGO movie video was a movie review, because from this point onward I will be doing movie reviews a lot more frequently. Heck, movie reviews is actually the reason why I opened up a YouTube channel in the first place. However, I won't just be reviewing brand new movies that came out this year, I will also be reviewing old movies. Today I'm going to be talking about a movie that I don't think a lot of people have heard about that was released in 2008 called Hotel for Dogs. It's important to know that at time of writing I haven't seen any other reviews of this movie, so this review will be 100% from my point of view. I have no idea what the rest of the world thinks of this movie. So, is this movie worth your time? Grab your dog and let's find out. Oh my goodness, this thing is heavy! You're probably thinking, hey, the movie is called Hotel for Dogs. It's obviously a story about a hotel for dogs. Yes, the movie is about a hotel, well, for dogs. But there is more to it than that. The story is about two orphan siblings, 11-year-old Bruce and 16-year-old Andy. They are being looked after by their quote-unquote bad foster parents, more on that later, and they are trying to protect their dog Friday. No, seriously, that's the name of the dog. Eventually, our two young protagonists eventually wander into an abandoned hotel. In this hotel, they find two other dogs that Bruce names Lenny and Georgia. They decide that that is where they're going to keep the dogs from now on, and they decide to try and improve the hotel to make it a bit more, well, suitable, I guess you could say. Throughout the story, the hotel seems to get better and better looking and less abandoned. Throughout the story, more and more people end up joining them. Eventually, they actually decide to go ahead and rescue every single stray dog they find. They have a lot of dogs by the end of the movie. I am really selling this plot short with this summary. I just don't want to waste time. I'm gonna be honest, the story's just fantastic. I found this movie pretty heartwarming, especially towards the third act. There's another perspective of this movie that I really like, and that would be the dogs. They're so cute! I love these dogs, they're just adorable. If you like dogs, then there is a pretty big chance that you are going to like this movie, and maybe even love it. There aren't a lot of characters in this movie. I'm gonna start with the two main protagonists. Bruce is incredibly intelligent. I am not joking, this man is a pure genius. Bruce comes up with some crazy inventions for the dogs, and I am not going to spoil a single one for you. I found Bruce pretty relatable, especially when I was around 11 myself. And then there's his older sister Andy, who, while is set to be 16, she really feels more like a 14-year-old to me. Although I am 14 years old myself, so maybe it's just me. However, if there are two characters in this movie I really think I have to mention, it's the foster parents Coral and Lois. Now, I don't know if Coral and Lois are supposed to be the antagonists of the story, but if they are, they're not very good at being an antagonist. Yeah, they're not overly loving and caring. She's not incredibly cruel either. I have seen kids' movies where the leader of an orphanage was a lot more cruel than this. However, if there's one perspective of Coral and Lois that I do think they nailed down pretty hard, it would be Lois's food. Oh my goodness, her food looks absolutely disgusting. I am not surprised they absolutely do not want to eat it. I would not eat that stuff unless my life depended on it. You can tell Lois doesn't care about her cooking when you find her hair in it. That's really everyone I can really be bothered to point out. So, without further ado, let's get into the photography. Now, this overall is a good looking movie. It really establishes the environments the characters are in. When Andy and Bruce first encounter the abandoned hotel, you can tell it's abandoned. Not to mention the crazy inventions that Bruce comes up with throughout the entire movie. So, with the inventions and the well-established environments, I say you get a pretty good looking movie. The music, well, again, I find the music pretty forgettable. I do briefly remember the music playing in the climax, and it's really a shame that my favourite song in the entire movie is, I kid you not, only 5 seconds long. Speaking of the music category, I think in my future reviews I will only do the music if I find it important. If it's not that important or I just flat out don't remember any of it, then I'm more than likely not going to have that category in the review. That's it for music. Now it's time to look at the criticisms, if you can say this movie has anything to criticize about in the first place. I do have a problem with this movie's opening credit sequence. The song itself just sounds off. I can't really explain it, but you would probably know what I mean when you see it yourself. And I also have a bit of a problem with its art style. Like, it's showing mechanical statues. How does that have anything to do with dogs? I think what it should have shown is maybe a pet store showing a bunch of little puppies, or better yet, a bunch of photos showing how Andy and Bruce grew up throughout the adventure. I think that would be perfect. Although, if there's one thing that the opening credit sequence did get right, it's the text. I find the text pretty creative. Like when the title of the movie shows up, when it says dogs in hotel for dogs, it replaces the O with a tennis ball. And there's also a couple of other interesting details, and that's like that throughout the entire opening credit sequence. I also think this movie is a little bit on the predictable side. I cannot praise this movie enough. I love this movie. I think this movie is well worth the purchase if you have a thing for dogs. The dogs are adorable, there's more to the story than you might think, it has some pretty likable characters, good photography, and the ending. Oh my gosh, the ending. Again, not to spoil anything, but let's just say the ending's brilliant. I really recommend you trying to get your paws on this movie. Get it? Paws? It's a dog movie? Ugh. Yes guys, I know that was a terrible pun, but come on. It's a movie about dogs. This movie is just begging for puns. Get it? Begging? I am Supersonic Corey, signing off. I'll see you in my next video. Cheers.